Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Coburn, and today's episode, we're talking about the 2018 NFL free agency cycle, specifically wide receiver Donte Moncrief of the Indianapolis Colts. He's someone that is set to hit free agency this year, and he's a very intriguing prospect, a guy that coming out of college had a lot of interesting pre-draft profile data and has put up some interesting NFL data as well. And what we're going to do in this video today is we're going to look at what his pre-draft profile was in terms of production and athleticism data, and then of course look at his NFL data, and then go over how he should be valued in this free agency cycle, and what are some of the pros and some of the cons of Donte Moncrief in terms of his overall data and those other sort of perspectives. And if you're new to the channel, all terms and definitions will be in the description. So if you're not familiar with what market share data is, if you're not familiar with the explosive or body strength score, speed score, flexibility score, and those other sort of types of things, then you can just go to the description and all that information will be there for you when it comes to the overall data here. So first off, let's get to Moncrief's pre-draft profile. When it comes to his overall pre-draft profile, he had a 78.72 college market share production score. The way that you get this score is you take individual receiving yardage of a wide receiver and you divide it by the team total yardage. So for example, if a wide receiver has 1,000 yards in a 4,000 yard offense, then that wide receiver had 25% market share production data, or passing yardage market share production data to be more specific. But what you do with that performance is you take that performance and you compare it to every single wide receiver performance since the 1969 NFL draft class, and then boom, you have a way to see, okay, where did most of the All-Pro players typically score? Where do the Pro Bowl players typically score? Where do the starters typically score? And then so on and so forth. So it just gives you an idea of this is where the majority of the special wide receivers typically performed. Like, this was a trait, essentially, of an All-Pro wide receiver, of a Pro Bowl wide receiver, of a starting wide receiver. And does his production line up with those traits? That's essentially what this data deals with. And when it comes to Donte Moncrief, in many ways, he looks more like a long-term starting wide receiver versus a multiple Pro Bowl / multiple All-Pro type based on the averages of the position, which is not a bad thing. It's not a great thing either, but it does show at least that Moncrief has the ability to be a starting NFL wide receiver, and for the most part, he has been able to put up some interesting sort of data from that kind of perspective. On top of that, when you get to his athleticism data, he had a 98.70 explosive lower body strength score, 99.55 speed score, and a 87.94 flexibility score. Donte Moncrief had an incredible combine. His combine, honestly, is why he got drafted as high as he got drafted, because there was a lot of athleticism. Like, he did so well as an athlete that it was like if Al Davis was still alive, Donte Moncrief would be on the Raiders. Like, that's how well he tested as an athlete. So, of course, athleticism is going to play into how people view Moncrief and the potential, again, the P word, the potential of a Moncrief based on his athleticism data, which he may not ever reach because of his production data, but that potential is there because of that athleticism data. But it hasn't exactly shown up in the macro data. So now we're going to get to his overall NFL data, and the macro data here deals with MSPY is passing yardage market share at the NFL level. MSY is total offensive market share at the NFL level, and then the other sort of data points is in the description. So all the other sort of and MSPY and MSY, the terms and definitions are in the description there as well, at least for this data. But this essentially is NFL data using the same principles from the college data, but applying it to the NFL level. And as you can clearly see, Donte Moncrief has never been that amazing when it comes to macro data. He's never been one to put up a ton of yardage, make up a huge percentage of a team's offense, whether you're talking 2014, 2015, 2016, or 2017. The best year he had was 2015, but 2016 was just non-existent, and 2017 was just not where he needs to be. So in many ways, Moncrief has just been a big tease. He's never really had a breakout year from a macro standpoint. But there are some things to see from a micro level. Now, this deals with first down conversion rate, meaning every time the ball gets into Moncrief's hands, how often does that turn into a first down? And when you look at this data, Moncrief has done very well in terms of first down, second down, and third down in 2016 and 2017. He was below average in 2017, but 2016 was a good year to kind of indicate how well he could possibly be. And of course, 2017 I think is another bigger kind of indication of maybe some growth in his ability, because 2014 he was just below average on first down, second down, and third down. 2015 was below average on first down and second down, and then 2016 he started to show some growth. 2017 showed a little bit of growth as well on first down and second down situations. In terms of his ability to take a ball on first down and turn it into a first down, or take a ball on second down and turn it into a first down. So this is the thing about Moncrief, is that despite the macro concerns, and those are real legitimate concerns, is that if you think that Moncrief is going to be a wide receiver that's going to put in work and give you a 1,200, 1,400 yard season, I kind of doubt that. But if you need a wide receiver to have on your team to get you some first downs on first and second down, he's shown to be a wide receiver that can do those things for you. So in many ways, I think Moncrief, even though he may not ever become a hugely impactful wide receiver from a macro standpoint, I think he'll be a very good wide receiver from a micro standpoint in terms of his overall data. And those are just some things that you're going to have to weigh with Donte Moncrief. Is you don't want to pay him top 20, top 30 wide receiver money, because he's never been able to produce like a top 20 and top 30 wide receiver. But if you pay him money as a complimentary wide receiver, as a top 50 wide receiver, as a top 60 wide receiver, as a number 3 wide receiver, that not the number 1, not the number 2, but the number 3 wide receiver, I think there is a lot of value to get out of Moncrief from that perspective. If you view Moncrief as a complimentary wide receiver who can come in and get you some interesting things on first down, second down, and even third down, again, that 2016 season showed some decent ability to convert in third down situations. If you can bring him into those situations, I think he's shown enough growth to contribute in meaningful ways on those particular downs and distances. So that's the only thing I would say about Moncrief, is if you view Moncrief as this wide receiver that you want to give a starting role and he's just going to roll with it, I'm not quite sure he's going to be able to give you the goods, so to speak. But if you bring him in and you give him a specific role, I think there's a lot of good things you can get out of him in that way. And he's kind of Ted Ginn Jr.-ish from that perspective, is that I don't think he'll ever live up to the hype that his athleticism data said he should have been, but I do think that he can still be a pretty good contributor in an offense and get you some first downs, which matter to winning football games. It's just that you have to understand that from a macro standpoint, he's not going to give you what you want, from a macro standpoint. He's not going to live up to the expectations of being a number 1 or even a number 2 wide receiver. He just hasn't been able to for the majority of his career. So that is my general thoughts and feelings about Donte Moncrief from a data perspective. And of course, my name is James Coburn. You can find my other work at draftcoburn.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Share this video as well with anybody that you know. Hit that notification button so that you're always reminded when another video of mine drops. And be sure to check out the 2018 NFL Free Agency Offensive Guide. In that guide, which the link to that guide is in the description, it has profiles on quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and offensive linemen. If you are a big fan of the show and you're a big fan of the data work that I do, that guide is chock full of data, chock full of information, and all the proceeds from the guide help this channel out and help me out as well in terms of giving some sort of financial incentive to continue the channel. So again, if you're a big fan of the show, if you're a big fan of the NFL, if you're a big fan of NFL data and the other sort of stuff, be sure to check out that NFL Free Agency Guide, which is in the description. And with all that out of the way, I will talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.